Hey everybody, today I'm talking about QE, which is a 3 to 5 player board game. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play. This one is an auction style game with some pretty unique twists to it. So the idea of the game is we're supposed to be these mega power companies trying to bail out these different industries after a huge financial crash. That's pretty much the extent of the theme. You're going to score points in lots of different ways by maybe scoring lots of the same type of industry, or diversifying by scoring different types of industries. And also by collecting companies from your own country. There are, as I said, however, some quite interesting twists to it. Basically, the player who spends the most money at the end of the game is going to be automatically disqualified from winning. So that's somewhat, that might remind you of a game called High Society by Rainer Knizia, which I'll touch on later. And also there is no limitation to what you can bid in this game. So the kind of the flow of the game is quite simple. There's going to be almost like a banker each round, and they are going to draw a tile from the stack of companies, which is going to have not only points on it, it's going to have the type of industry it is and what country it's from as well. And then the banker is going to write a price which they're willing to pay using a dry erase kind of, or all the tiles are dry erase, and you've got your pens with them. And you're going to put that in the center of the table, and then every other player is going to either, they can choose to kind of pass and not bid anything, or they can secretly bid an amount of money. And then once everybody's bid, they're going to pass it to the banker, and they're going to look at those all the bids that have been put to them, and the highest bidder is going to win the lot. And the banker is going to write what the highest bidder has bid on the back of that and give them the tile, and then they'll mark off on their player sheet, you know, what type of industry it is, what country it's from, and so on, in order to score their points. But the interesting thing about that is obviously only the banker in that round is going to know what each player has bid. So some person might have bid, or one player might have bid, £100 and the other person might have bid £1,000. And the only kind of information that the player who bid less money is going to know that the other player bid more than him, but he doesn't know how much more than him it is. And then it'll go on to the next player. A new bid, a new lot will be put out on the table, and the process will continue. But yeah, the interesting thing is, as the game develops, you're going to learn kind of, when you are the banker, you're going to learn what other players are bidding. You're going to kind of have this kind of level in your head where you kind of guessing what other players have spent, because with every bid you're putting forward, you're going to be, bearing in mind the fact that that you don't want to be the player who spent the most money. So you always kind of want to be at that kind of second place, because you want to be spending your money in order to win the lots, but you don't want to be spending the most because you're not going to win anything. So a very interesting twist of the game. The almost economy and feel of the game is another really fascinating factor, because as I said, that these parameters are always going to be pushed. The value is always going to go up and up and up, as not only the points are going to become more lucrative, because in set collection fashion you're going to be collecting the more type of a certain company, you're going to be ramping up points, but also in mind that if you know that one person spent 10 grand on the last auction and you've only spent £1 grand overall, you've got at least 9 grand to play with for your bids. But you could be way off in your kind of estimations. They could have spent way more than that, and you're bidding way less than the other players are bidding, because they know more information than you do. So it's kind of hard to explain this and wrap your head around, but there's almost like a deduction element to it. You got to just keep in mind what other players are bidding and throwing out there. Who's going to be spending the most money, and so on. You're also going to get points for bidding nothing in rounds. So you've got kind of 3 opportunities to bid nothing, which gets you 2 points a turn. And that's going to be pretty much how the game plays. So you're going to play on until the whole tile or stack of tiles is gone. And then you're going to tally up your points at the end of the game. So the player who's bid the most money is going to automatically be disqualified, and then whoever's won the most points after that is going to be the winner. So yeah, meaningful decision-wise, there is a lot to go into this one. Just judging your auctions or your bids just right. You want to bid more than the other players, but not too much. It's always funny at the end of the game when you realise you might have paid £1 grand for something when the next highest bid was only 20 quid. So you could have got it a lot cheaper. So lots of laugh out loud moments there. Knowing what to focus on, are you going to diversify and get points that way? Are you going to just focus on one thing and get points that way? Again, just lots of different things to weigh up, bearing in mind what's available to you, what you're missing out on. You can't be winning everything, because if you do, you're not going to win, because you're going to spend all your money. I love the fact that there is no limitations on the game whatsoever. Every game is going to be completely different, because the players dictate the market. One game the highest bid might be 2,000, and one game it might be 20 million or even billions. So that's very, very interesting. With games like this, I will mention that they tend to be somewhat fragile, because if you have one player that doesn't really understand how the game works, or isn't playing in the spirit of the game, then the game can completely go off the rails. Because if they're not, you have to be playing with the idea in mind that you don't want to be the one spending the most. Because if someone's just writing checks that they can't, that are going to be completely ludicrous and are definitely going to cash you out winning the game, then the game is just going to go completely awry, and not going to be fun for anybody. But if everybody's playing in the spirit of the game, trying to keep their funds as tight, and want to be that, or spend sensibly, then the game is a lot of fun. Again, with the balance and stuff, it's completely self-moderated. Everybody starts with an empty checkbook, so there is no complaints about fairness or anything like that. Everybody's got the exact same opportunity. Mechanically, very interesting, and still very, very smooth. Always engaging. There's next to no downtime in this one. You're always going to be writing checks, which is fun. When you're the banker, it's equally as fun, because not only do you get to kind of set the minimum bid and what you're willing to pay for it, just that part of knowing what other people are bidding, and you think, wow, he's willing to spend that, I'm way off on my spending, because you might get a bid of 10,000, and the highest bid is 500. So you think, Jesus Christ, I'm way off on this, which is always great, and it lets you kind of adjust your play for the future rounds. So again, I loved weighing up in your head what other people are spending, and so both aspects of the game are extremely fun when you're involved in the auctioning or not, or the bidding or not. Time investment wise, fantastic. 30 minutes to 45 minutes to play is the complete sweet spot. Again, no scope to lose interest here. It doesn't outstay its welcome whatsoever, and it's also one of those games you just want to, when you finish it, you want to play again, because it's that much fun. Replayability wise, as I said, every game is going to be very different. I don't think it's going to be a game that you bring out all the time, but when you have that kind of 5-player count, it's always going to be one to go to. Because it's fun, it's nice, it's a great game to introduce to players, and it's just got a great kind of almost like a party style feel to it, which I really like. Interaction wise, fantastic. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's no real kind of direct interaction or anything, but everybody bidding for the same thing, and it's a very player driven game, so the interaction comes through that way, which is fantastic. Aesthetically and component quality is top notch. I love the way the game looks. It's got a very slick, clean design to it. All the checks look fantastic. The artwork is very clean. Component quality is great. The dry erase pens are really good. So yeah, component quality, I can't complain at all. And again, looks wise, I think it looks fantastic and is very fitting for the game. Theme wise, again, it works. I mean, the idea of bidding on these industries is cool. It's not a terribly thematic game, but what the theme it does have and the skin it has works incredibly well. Setup and teardown time as well is top notch. Literally just give those industry tiles a shuffle, put them on a stack, and you're pretty much good to go. Everybody starts with a certain industry already in their kind of pocket already, so it's got something to kind of lean towards and focus on before the game even begins. Progression wise, I think this is one of the game or areas the game really sings at, because the game really does ramp up, and with every round that kind of tension gets better and better and better, more palpable, the bids get higher and higher and higher. But yeah, it's just great fun and a great sense of, or a great arc to the game. And scalability wise as well, I probably wouldn't play this at the 3-player count. Always 4 and 5 players is going to be always going to be the sweet spot for this one, and always willing to play it at that. And comparison-wise as well, as I mentioned, there is a game very similar to this on the market by Rainer Knizia, who is kind of the king of auction-style games. That one's called High Society. Now, High Society has the same twist to it, where whoever spent the most money at the end of the game is automatically disqualified, where obviously QE uses that mechanism. But High Society is a bit more of a tight game where you have a hand of cards, and that's what you're bidding with, and you can never kind of take change or anything. So I love High Society. It's one of my favourite auction games ever, and I would put QE at pretty much the same level as that one, because High Society does things that I like better than QE, but QE does things that I like better than High Society. Where High Society excels, I think, is that kind of fun factor. The reins being off, it has like almost, as I said, almost kind of party style feel to it. Whereas High Society is a bit more controlled. I think the hand management is a bit more of an issue with it, which is a great touch I love about High Society. So the comparisons are really close to each other, whereas the differences are enough to kind of warrant having them both for me. I mean, generally I love auction games anyway, so I'll always kind of lean towards an auction game, always willing to try them out. And yeah, QE is way up there for me. It's one of the best auction games I've ever played. Tremendous fun. Again, very light-hearted, but still very tense. That reveal factor at the end about who spent the most money is always going to be great. The deduction element to it is fun. Just the free reins of it is just what really makes this game sing, and it's just a really good time. Everyone who played it had a fantastic time, and yeah, it gets way up there for me. Definitely gets a shield of quality for me. Easily an 8 out of 10, and who knows, it could even go higher than that. But yeah, as of right now, extremely impressed with this one. I've been looking forward to playing it for a long time. The Kickstarter finally came in, and yeah, it didn't disappoint. I had a fantastic time, and it's yeah, as I said, way up there on my favourite auction games, and would be a top tier one. So yeah, if you like your auction games, try this one out. If you have a regular party or a game group of 4 or 5 players, give this one a go. Again, great production, great fun, and just great tension. No complaints whatsoever, just a fantastic game. That is QE. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos too. For everyone else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.